Hey, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
Good.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. How's life?
Life is interesting.
Ups and downs, right?
Yes, absolutely. When this all started, I was going through a lot of anxiety, more than I've ever experienced, and I started having. Unfortunately, I had these like panic attacks that I was going through, and my heart was like pounding and racing. I couldn't figure out why, and
Aw.
yeah, I'd be like laying on the bed, just trying to figure out how to calm myself down, and eventually had to go see somebody to get it taken care of. So, blood pressure was high, probably due to a lot of stress and anxiety, but I'm starting to do a lot better. And the funny thing about that whole thing, not to talk a lot about me, but yeah, I should be in a good place right now. There shouldn't be a whole lot of stress and anxiety. Honestly, I'm with my family, and that's what I love the most, of course, and. Just be able to watch them grow. My daughter's 3. You know how it is
Yeah.
with little kids. Memories and being there is like the most important thing. So,
Yeah.
probably just being, the main provider in the family has got a lot to do with that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I've got a lot of time to work on music. What about you? How's quarantine going for you?
Well, I released a single, during it.
Reminiscent.
It's not, super, like people dropping whole albums or whole mixtapes and stuff, and I'm not doing all that. But I've only ever dropped 2 songs, so this is my second drop. I was able to work on it, finish it up during this time and everything. I go back to my second job tonight.
Okay.
Really nervous about that. I kind of don't want to go.
Where's that at, if you don't mind me asking?
Just for the purposes of the video, I'll just say a restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
But we can go into further detail later. But
right.
Yeah.
Well, that brings up a whole lot of concerns, of course.
Yeah, just waiting tables and touching people's plates and stuff. I'm just nervous, but I mean it is what it is. Like we have to go back to it. So
yeah, just constantly wash hands. That's I think that's the best thing, and don't touch your face, obviously.
Well, we have to wear the mask.
That's
but
good.
Also the best news is that it's summertime. This is the best news for me because in wintertime, my knuckles like bleed if I wash my hands like too much. Really
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. That's an ongoing argument between Sarah and I. We have the same problem. We can't put enough lotion on, and we always compare each other's hands to see which ones look the driest, and it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. She does.
Assembly line with the wash and the dry and the lotion.
Yes. And what really gets bad is the by your nails, where it just starts getting cut and just split. Yeah. And there's something that you can use for that called working hands, and that works really well. Nice. There you go. Well, let me introduce you. This is Bellex, Jenna Bell, a former student of ICB graduate. Just released a new single, Reminiscent, which you can purchase and stream anywhere, right? Is that correct?
That is correct. And actually, I have a handy little card to show.
Oh, sweet. Sweet.
Yeah.
I always like deliverables. That's exciting.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 different ones. This one is for Forevermore.
Okay. Cool.
And the other one, just the last part, is Reminiscent.
Okay.
The word is reminiscent. So I got that too, but I need to get it.
And talk to me, once you get that, about both songs. I'm interested to hear about Reminiscent, of course, but, thank you. The other one, too, but I know I just heard Reminiscent just recently, so if you could go into that and tell me about, you sing on it, I'll just go there, but you also rap as well, and, what are those songs about?
Okay, so, Reminiscent is a song, so the whole album is like a concept album.
Okay.
It basically is based off of, like, you start out, on the heels of a bad relationship, and it's going over, you're about to be done, and then you meet someone new, and you start this new relationship, and then you begin to, have a great time in the relationship, and have also a fall in that relationship, and then you begin to have, a breakup with that situation as well. So basically, Reminiscent is the second song on the album. So that's like you're remembering your former relationship and, you know, just thinking about how things used to be. And Forevermore is the 7th out of 11 songs on the album. Forevermore is more about like about how sometimes when you're in love or when you're in a relationship, things seem a little on edge. You feel like, I'm not sure if this is going to work out right now, and I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing right now, and maybe I'm making a permanent decision and it's about something big, you know. So it's really based off of a particular situation that happened, where, I'm so sorry. Please talk to me. I'm so busy. It's really about a very specific situation where, you know, there's someone who would come in and out of my life, and I wasn't sure if they were ready to make the leap. You know, are we doing this? Are you in? You know, and that's basically the point of the album that it's in, where I'm like, okay, are we doing this or what are we doing?
Dating is really hard. I'm so happy that I'm married, and because I know what that's like. And the biggest thing for me is the walls that people put up. And it takes forever to feel like to get to really know that person. Everybody has different initiatives and things like that, so different intentions. So I feel for you on that, and yeah, those are good things to write about, because I know a lot of people have gone through that. You know, including myself, and so you're touching a lot of hearts. It's really a good thing that you're putting something out there that other people can connect to. You know, I think that you do that well. I don't do that as well as I'd like, and so I really am inspired by you for doing that. You are currently in school now, correct?
Correct.
Okay, you're going to Full Sail online, and you decided to continue your education, which is really commendable. How is that going?
It's going good. I'm slated to graduate in November.
Okay.
I would have graduated sooner, but sometimes they have these classes that are like low concept classes where you really don't have to give it that much go, and you can like get 100%. And then they have lots of ones, excuse me, that are much more intense. That are like, man, if I don't pay 1,000% attention, I'm not going to get a good grade. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, oftentimes they'll couple 2 classes at the same semester. You get like one class per month. And if they couple the 2 classes, usually it'll be one class that's low concern and one class that's high concern, you know. But then at one point they tried to put 2 of the really difficult classes at the same time, and I had to call them like, no, we're not about to do this, you know, because I'm a single mom working 2 jobs, so it's like,
you split it up.
I can't do it all at one time, so I asked them to separate it so that I would be able to give each class my full attention and absorb the information, rather than just like, I mean, with online school, it's almost like you can cheat on everything. I mean, you're not really cheating because you're allowed,
right?
But it's like, okay, what's the question? Okay, what's the answer?
Yeah. And
you're just like, you know, you could just look it up, and you don't have to absorb the information at all.
Right. It's memorization.
So it's a lot.
It's
a lot easier to absorb it if you're doing less.
Yeah. There was a point when I went there and I was on campus, but there was the 4th month.
Turn it down.
People were losing it because they were so stressed out, and thankfully I went to ICB, so some of my credits transferred. I don't know if you had that same experience. That helped out a lot. And also it made me, you know, feel like I was kind of on it compared to everybody else. Like, I was maybe a little more experienced than some people, which gave me some confidence. What have you seen?
So
Go ahead.
You went to ICB first, then you said?
Yes. So that actually goes into my next question. How different is it from ICB to Full Sail? Positive or negative?
Okay. So it's kind of a little bit difficult to answer, because I feel like it's different for everyone based off of what sort of background they've came from.
Sure.
Like if they, you know, grew up around someone who was just always messing with MIDI keyboards or, Pro Tools, or never saw the program in their entire life, you know what I mean?
Right.
So for me, when I went to ICB, never saw any of the programs in my whole life, and I just was like so interested and so curious, and I just wanted to know how it all worked and how do you make music, like that was my whole thing. So while I had a great time at ICB, and I definitely, I got my Pro Tools certification, and I learned a lot, and I know that I wouldn't go as far as to say expertise with Pro Tools, but my knowledge of Pro Tools was exponentially better than if I had just started at Full Sail. I feel like at ICB, because I was so new to the whole like thing, that it was like, oh, lights, oh, colors, oh, this is so cool, and like I couldn't really, really get it, you know what I mean? But as I had taken some time off after graduating ICB before going to Full Sail, my program crashed my computer, and like I was like, oh, what am I gonna do? And I decided to go to Full Sail ultimately for equipment. This was the genuine reason, and I wanted to get a little bit better and get maybe like a credible job degree.
Yes.
That's music is, not that I don't think I'm talented, but music is highly based off of talent. And if people don't think that you're talented, you're not going to get paid.
Yeah.
But like in the audio production world, I was actually talking to somebody about this last night. It's less about what you're making or the quality even of what you're making, and more about who's paying you.
Correct. Yeah. And who's listening, and what's getting traffic, what's getting activity. And you're right in some sense, but I swear it doesn't matter how good and talented you are. All that matters is if people listen to you and like you. And we've seen over and over again songs on the radio that people are tired of or just don't like in general. But obviously they do well during surveys, so that's why they stay on the air. But there's crap out there, and it does well. And it's again just, do you have enough drive, and is there people that, are you popular? Did you collect a fan base? That's why I think it's important to start it young. That's why a lot of people think that you should start young, because you have, the high school, middle school age where, people are more interested in what's hip right now, what's hot, and then you've got friends and people that you're more close to, as opposed to as you get older. That seems to die down, especially when you have a family and you have kids. So I struggle with that all the time. I could talk about that forever.
Yeah.
What do you plan on doing after graduation?
Well, when I initially started going to school for audio production, it was all about overcoming the producer situation that was not a real producer. There's several different people who call themselves a producer. You have a person who pays for everything and wants the title of producer.
Right.
You have a person who makes the music, or the beat maker, the instrumentalist, composer. These are all different names for the same thing. And then you have a person who goes to someone who already has some element of talent and is like, no, I want you to sing it this way. No, I want you to do it this way. But they don't necessarily make the product. They kind of shape it.
They're like consultants.
They're more like that than what I would call a producer.
Sure.
In my traditional sense, the word producer is the person who makes the music.
Right.
So when I was beginning my singing, on recordings, people would always be like, oh, I'm a producer, baby. Oh, I'm a producer, baby. Come to my house, and I'm like, okay. So then I come to find out, they've got one track for the music and one track for my voice. And I'm like, you didn't make this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm no expert on Pro Tools or whatever program this is, but I can tell that there's only one track right there.
Right.
So like the whole goal was to be able to complete one of my life's ambitions, which was to self-produce my own entire album.
Right. Did the same thing.
And so that's still one of my highest ambitions. And as I go through and learn more things like game audio and stuff like that, I just hope to be able to do a job that I like. Yeah. That is the only goal. I'm hoping that I can maybe get my master's. Nice. I don't know if I need to not change majors, obviously, at this point in the game, but if I would need to have a degree as a bachelor's in music production to get a master's in music production, or if a bachelor's in audio production is enough to get me in the door for a master's in music production.
Yeah, I think that I would talk to admissions, but I'm pretty sure, because I went from music business bachelor to music entertainment master's. So I have no idea when it comes to the audio side of things, but I would definitely go for it. I would continue making music and producing your own work, because it seems to be that's the best way for you to get out there. Somebody eventually likes it, somebody big likes it, or maybe even not so big, but even has an independent label. They may want to buy your song. They may want you to, write another song for them, or maybe be a consultant. And that's the only way to get out there. Sitting on your hands isn't going to do it, and making calls, going to bars, and trying to network, they say, is a good way to do it. But I think that the best thing to do is have that music as a resume. And that's exactly what I did. That's exactly what you're doing. So keep doing that. It is fun to listen to a song that somebody's working on, and then how can we make it better? But I have a hard time doing that because I don't like going against the grain very much. I like to keep it natural, and I know that's a critic of a lot of people that make music that they're criticizing of me, because maybe I didn't take a certain spot out of the audio, or little things. Like, it's not perfect for me, and I don't really want it to be perfect. But on the other hand, if you want to make it big and you want to get on the radio and keep up with the big boys, that probably is the best thing to do, for sure. For example, hey, your vocal right here at this part is not great. You could work on this one section, like this tail end of a vocal could be a lot smoother. For me, I probably would just let it go and be like, you know what, I think that's the best that I have done on my own. I'm going to keep it that way and keep it real. But like I said, that's not always the best thing. And you seem to be really, there's several people at ICB that were critical and critical thinkers, but also critical in execution. And so that would be a great job for you. What's your next release?
My next release, let me take a gander at the progress chart here.
Awesome.
I have
That's awesome.
I'll give you a peep, because, okay. I know this is for, something.
I'd like to see that. I'm all about that.
There's my...
Okay.
Yeah, so...
nice. That's excellent.
I'll read out. I don't want to give away too many secrets, but,
sure.
So I have it's based off of song title, lyrics, beat production, piece export, and mix. Now, beat production is also divided into verse, chorus, intro/outro, bridge, and finishing touches.
Nice. And I noticed that lyrics were filled in, like you pretty much had that down first.
Yeah. I do have a lot of, the lyrics, I would say, are mostly the first thing that was done.
Okay.
On almost every single song. There's only 4 half blocks of lyrics that are not marked, and they're really not a half, because they're things like a bridge or one verse that are not completed, or maybe a bridge and a verse.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these songs are actually songs that I've had written for quite some time.
Okay.
That I may have put on someone else's beat before.
Right.
That I'm trying to remake a beat and put that song onto a new beat.
Right.
So I would say the next one is probably going to be the flagship song for the album. The album is called Love, Bellex.
Nice.
And there's a song called Love, and I think that's going to be the next one.
And you're releasing them individually, which is cool, all as singles. That's a popular thing to do, and actually it makes it, you're more relevant. You're releasing things consistently, and it kind of builds up a fan base, so that's awesome. Bridges are hard to do sometimes. I always seem to do my bridges last as well, but one idea for if you have a hard time coming up with another verse is taking that first verse and using it again at the end. That's just a thought. Tom Petty did it a lot. A lot of other artists I know in the 90s were doing that, like Blues Traveler.
I remember that.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a good thing. It seems like it's cheating, but I think that first verse is always really gold, and so It's good to kind of rehash it, revamp it. Just a suggestion in case you get like to that point. I get to that point and I'm like, you know what? Again, I don't try to work real hard and spend too much time on my music because I do work in a lengthy period. Like there's songs that I'm working on now that I started 5-8 years ago. And then I have to go back and think about what that was about. And so you know what that's like. So I'll move on and ask you, how do you feel about live performance?
Oh, live performing. I love it. I definitely am not a stranger to being in front of people.
Yeah.
But I do like get the shakes really, really bad for some reason. I get the shakes like so bad sometimes.
Sweaty palms?
I don't know if it's that so much. Like I literally just like I'm just like, you know, I don't know why it's like uncontrollable, but like once like the bass hits, like I'm good.
Yeah. You gotta channel that energy once it starts.
Yeah, like I just try to like, you know, I probably start sharp, you know, like I'm just like, oh, you know, I can't wait to get it out. But I love it. I haven't done too many live shows, just because it seems that a lot of the people in the city who are like promoter or the people who book the shows and get the artists to come to the shows, I'm not able to work with them in a way where like I can go on when I get there.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes they'll do these things where it's like draw names out of the hat. Everybody has to be here at such a clock, and at that time we'll draw names and we'll know who goes in what order then. And if you're not here at the name drawing, you can't be on the show.
Yeah. So you got to be there for 4 or 5 hours at least.
Yeah,
usually.
And it's just I'm a single parent, so I don't have anywhere to put my kid for several hours while I'm not doing anything constructive.
I completely understand that.
Yeah, so like what would work better for me on like the live performance circuit if it's not like my own show, would be if I would have you know, just local promoters who would be more understanding that
set time.
You know, I'm off at such and such o'clock. I don't know when that'll be, you know, like I'm not off at a guaranteed time because I'm a waitress, you know, so like when I'm off, I'm off. And then I will just come and put on the show and leave. We
can do that for the Dayton Music Showcase, no problem. I've been giving people an allotted time. Some of my mistakes have probably been getting 7 or 8 acts, and I need to really bring that down to 5 or 6 because I assume that maybe 1 or 2 acts don't show, which does happen, but then every Dayton Music Showcase, we've only done 2, but every one, it seems like it's been really packed, and we've had to rush people on and off, which I think is a good thing, but it also can make some chaos. So I would definitely be down for getting you any time that you want it, you know. And there is something else there, too, and I talked to to Tay Money about this yesterday, where we need to start trying to support other artists because it is very much, and I do the same thing, I'm probably really bad about it, where, you know, I'm playing, and then once I'm done, I'm off. I don't see any other acts. Unless I'm a part of the show and I'm running the show, that's a different story. But I don't go out and see groups that I should go out and see that were playing before COVID-19. And it's because I have kids, you know, and I need to be home at some point to be for not just my kids, but my wife as well. And at times that's a good excuse. But at other times, you know, if you want people to come to your show or listen to your music, you're going to have to give back as well. And I've known that for years, and it's really been frustrating to know that I haven't been there for other artists. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing this interview and doing these interviews and doing Dayton Music Showcase is to give back. And I know what it's like being an artist and not having an outlet, and hopefully this gives people an outlet. It's fun to talk about your music. It's fun to promote. We're just, as artists, I don't think we're very good at it, unfortunately. I went to school for it, and I'm still not great at it. But, you know, that's a personal problem. So that's not everybody's issue. Do you find that to be an issue to promote?
To promote
yourself? Yeah.
Yes and no. I mean, I've done some like Instagram like paid promotion or like Facebook paid promotion. I mean, I got like an extra 100 followers out of like a 5-day promotion.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I specifically market my promotions to specific areas. I always pick LA, New York.
Yes.
Sometimes I pick Dayton, my hometown.
Right.
And I will elect cities that I know my favorite artists frequent or live in.
Okay.
In the hopes that my favorite artists will catch wind of me.
Yes. That's good.
Yeah.
And where do you do the promotion? Do you do it through CD Baby or do you do it through TuneCore?
No, I do my own promotion. Like, I just pay for it on like Instagram. Like I do it on my Instagram or on my Facebook.
Okay.
It promotes my post. Like I'll put a post
Right.
that's like the link to my song. Or like I will try to make like a PDF of I'll make a PowerPoint basically, and then I'll take screenshots of it, and then I'll do like a multi-slide Instagram post.
Okay.
And the PowerPoint will be designed to either like throw people off or make people be like, that's not true, or wait, why is she saying this? You know what I mean? And it'll be purposefully designed. Like I have this one, like this specific one that I'm talking about. I was like, The Weeknd is one of my favorite musicians.
Yeah.
I went on in this whole like PowerPoint talking about the female weekends. Oh, here we are. Because the thing about The Weeknd is this. Now let me give you the psychology behind all this. The Weeknd is like so renowned for his like falsetto and like he sings all these crazy like up and down and everything. And me as a vocalist, whereas I used to have a full 7-octave range with no like gaps in between, I did have a little illness that I never got this particular part of my voice back.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually had went to a vocal doctor and they said that I might have had a vocal node and I would need like surgery to get it removed.
Yeah. John Mayer has that problem, and it comes up every so often, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Adele had one. They removed it and got her, right back on.
Right. That's true too. Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. But the longer that you go with one, the more easily you can find out how to work around it in your voice.
Yeah.
But I also realized that the harder that I would try to sing these parts that I just couldn't do, I was going the wrong direction. I have a really, not to be conceited, like excellent low register.
Yeah.
And not a lot of females can sing as low as I can sing.
Sure. That's a plus, yeah.
And as far as The Weeknd goes, like he sings all these high notes that not all men can sing. So I'm a female who sings all these low notes that not all females can sing.
Female
so that's
Weeknd.
kind of like the psychology.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Amen. Yeah.
My volume 4 had music that I'm like, man, how am I going to sing to this? This is I have to really sing, and so it took a lot of work, and I was constantly at home singing parts and trying to get it down. What frustrates you about the music industry?
What frustrates me the most, I would say, is untalented people being successful.
Oh my gosh, it drives me nuts. Yes.
I'm a big fan of pronunciation. And, like, if I don't know what you're talking about on your song, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like,
it has to be intelligible. Yeah.
What are we doing? I will say that, like I said, The Weeknd is one of my favorite artists. I would say definitely because of his different, like, range of voice that he has and, like, his, like, stylistic things that he does. But what first got me interested was the production quality and, like, the bass and stuff like that. And a lot of the times his lyrics are really explicit and talking about things that I'm not really into. And it's kind of a turnoff when I'm listening to it. But I realized that, he said those things and stuff because it sells and because a lot of the people who make these unintelligible musicians famous are into this stuff that I'm not so into.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I realized that there are really good productions with terrible artists on top of them that everyone loves to listen to because the production is just there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that is one of my biggest aspirations as I produce, is to make productions that even if you hate what I'm singing about, you just can't help but listen to it, because you just have to hear that bass drop, or you just have to hear when that bridge comes in, or whatever part it is that that you loved it so much that you just have to hear it again, even though you're like, oh, this stupid girl talking about this relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care, but you just want to hear it.
Yeah, I ask people about that, and one of the things I always remember is somebody told me, there's people that either listen just to the beat, and there's people that just like to listen to the lyrics. My mom, she's a lyric person. She needs that driving beat, but she really focuses on the lyrics. As for me, I'm a drummer by at heart, so that's really what I'm driven to, is the rhythm section. But you have to have it all, and it kills me to write lyrics, because I know that there's certain things that I talk about that has to do with my personal life that people don't want to hear, like you said. But you also have to be real, and it has to be emotional. Where like an actor acts, an artist needs to be real and needs to share their feelings appropriately. And I don't agree with being fake. At the same time, you could say one thing, people like the music, but you could say one thing in that song, one sentence, and it makes people change the station or change the channel or say, man, I'm not really into this. So
save the more less relatable stuff for the last verse.
Yes. Wow, is that not a good idea? Yeah, you want to be commercially satisfactory in speaking in like a universal tongue, which is what pop music does. And so I have to sacrifice some things, and I'm working on that with my next album. I'm actually trying to get better and better through every album to get there, and putting all my songs that are personal to the side and getting them done so I can move on to getting more commercially satisfactory. Do you have a hard time talking to other people about your music?
No.
Okay, that's good. That's good, because I sometimes do. I'm almost embarrassed by it for some reason, and I know a lot of artists are that way, to constantly trying to shove it in people's face, but that's what you have to do. I'm not surprised for you to answer that, I guess, that way, because you have good self-confidence. You are a proud person, and that's keep that going, because that could take you really, really far, just as far as the music takes you. But my last question for you is, what do you like about Dayton, and how do you think Dayton can improve?
Okay. Well, I have always liked Dayton, because even though we're kind of a big city, we have like a small town feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody, and I mean, it's good and bad, because you're like, oh, I wanted to not see that person, but yeah, there they are everywhere that I go.
Been there.
Like literally somebody I knew from somewhere. One of their teammates from some team lived across the street from me, and so this is how they found out where I lived at.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't like people knowing where I live, so I was like, oh, okay, I guess some people know where I live at now, whatever. So, fast forward a few years, I moved, and they live out back of my house, and found out where I lived again, literally as soon as I moved.
Stalkers, man.
No, they already lived there, but,
that's crazy. What a coincidence.
Yeah, super, like, I'm like, okay, why are we, like, entangled, me and this person, But, so the thing that I think Dayton could improve is on that same topic, where, like, I mean, obviously it's been, like, 20 years since, like, 2000, but you used to be able to just walk down the street, and if you were walking and someone that you knew, which would be 1 in every 6 cars, according to science, would stop and pick you up and give you a ride to wherever you're going.
Right.
And these days, it's not that simple. Like, if I see someone I think I might know going down the street and I want to give them a ride, I'm like, it might not be them. I don't know. Do they have the COVID? Not going to give them a ride. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
I can't blame, the city for the way that society has evolved, or how dangerous things are now, and, like, how scary of a world things have become, and even people that you do know or did know, you can stop to pick them up, and they're not the same person they were before. They're up to something.
Yep.
So, I mean, I just wish that we could kind of go back to that small town feel that we used to have where, I mean, you could just pick somebody up off the side of the road and give them a lift and it was no big deal. But at the same time, I realize how that's a little bit unrealistic with how the world has evolved and how prevalent drugs and violence are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Goodness, there's probably too much fear when it comes to that. And then doesn't it create a problem when we're all in fear and it just kind of pushes us away from each other? I've seen enough forensic files myself to be freaked out. So it was like something that Sarah and I binged on for a while. And there's some stories that I still think of to this day.
I can't stand that stuff. It gets me so nervous. I can't sleep at night after that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and when you have kids, it's even worse, So
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because, getting together and trying to bring people together is what's up. And hopefully we can somehow reach to that again. I think we can. I think we will. Talking to T.A. Money yesterday, Tay Money, this could be a really good time for people to get back out once this is all over, and maybe people will be more into seeing more live performances and that growing. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and I'm hoping that you're performing as well soon too, as well.
Yeah, I would like to. I wish that I have an ultimate dream that there would be a club with a daycare in it.
That is a good idea. That is a brilliant idea. Yeah. Well, because it's good for the artists and it's good for the fans too, and for the audience. That's you need to continue that. I might steal that from you. I might, if I get some money one day, and put a venue together. That would be gold. They do that at YMCA's. They do it at gyms and other places. So yeah, why not? Why the heck not?
Why not the performance venue? We shouldn't call it a bar. We should call it the performance venue.
Performance venue. Yeah, I don't like bar. I was at a car dealership.
I don't want to watch your kids for you to go to the bar, but if you're going to the performance venue,
yes, still serving drinks.
Yeah.
I went to a car dealership once, and there was a little daycare section actually when I was a kid, and I've never forgot that. So good idea. I'm going to end there because that's brilliant, and we're going to do this again. So give me next month, and I'm going to get you signed up for another call. And thanks for talking. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Bellex.
Links again.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Go listen to Bellex. See you guys. Bye.